They went to the country because it wasn't as congested, and the air was that. I mean, those years they went out to Coney Island to be on the ocean. But you know how many people my age came down? They came down with polio. You know? Yeah, it was frightening. It was literally, people were terrified. There was no way to know who would not get it. Seemingly, they should have decreed a fast in the religious community. I mean, this is a plague. It was a plague. People that were in North Carolina were affected by polio. And Baltimore was better.
Baltimore was better. First of all, we could be more isolated.
Yeah.
We stayed in my aunt's house and we didn't go outside.
Yeah.
You go out.
Yeah, you didn't go out, definitely.
We got a house. We stayed in the house.
Yeah, yeah.
You didn't go anywhere. Going on the train, we wore masks.
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
You couldn't play with anybody.
No, but people they were terrified. Everybody was terrified by this. Yeah. Okay, now what's considered a plague? Ezodev, what's a plague? How many people have to die to be considered a plague? So it says, Ira Motzia Chomish Meos Ragli. A city that has 500 people. Ragli means people who walk. I mean, people who are old enough to walk. V'yotzimena Gimel Mesim Gimel Yom Zachazeh. And 3 consecutive days, you had 3 people dying in every day. That means 9 people over a 3-day period. That's an indication. This is serious. First, it's 3 is a chazokah. And you have 3 people every day. That's a chazokah. This is the real thing. Okay? Hareza dever. That's considered dever. Okay? Pochs mikan ain't a dever. But if it's less than that, it's less than 3 days, you said it's an isolated incident. Al elu masriyan b'chol mokom. For this, you blow the shofar wherever it may be. Al shidofon, right? Al yirokon. Shidofon is where winds come and they destroy the crops. Al yirokon is blight. Right? Once there's blight, you know, you have the boll weevil. No, Albert knows the boll weevil very well. Okay, al arbe, al chosil, that's locusts, different types of locusts. Al chayro, bal cherev, you have predator animals migrating through the area. So if you have predator animals, what do? It's uncontrollable. You know, lions, tigers, bears. What do? Al cherev. Armies coming through with the sword. Masrino leo, neishi makas malechas. It's migrating. It's not something which it's limited there. Everybody is now. It's just a question of time before it arrives. Not simple. It's this Al Qaeda. They already said they're coming to America. Yamach shemam.
They were afraid anyone who got weak could possibly get.
No, I understand. I understand, but over here we see. I mean, also we're talking about a disease. It's a pestilence. They fasted. I don't think older people weren't subject to polio. What if no?
Some did get
some, or even teenagers got it. Yeah.
It was widespread.
That's when they had the iron lung.
Yeah, absolutely. That was the only way to keep them alive.
Yeah.
They lost the motor function, the nerve function to the motor.
Right. People couldn't breathe.
But they closed down all the schools. They closed down all these summer schools and everything. There was nothing going on. Everybody had to stay home in their houses.
Masish yordus zikenim Yerushalayim loreim v'gozru tainis al shinira k'moli pitan or shidofon bashkelon. Here the elders came, the members of Sanhedrin, they came to Yerushalayim. They came to their cities and they decreed a fast because they saw just a small amount, the opening of an oven, which is a small amount of shidofon. Meaning the crop was affected to a small degree, but if it was affected to that degree, it means a lot more is coming down the pike. How does he explain shidofon? Wind blast. Yeah, you have one blast and you have wind blast. Okay. V'od gozru tainis al she'ochlu zev mishnei tinoks be've'arting. Here there were 2 wolves. They ate 2 children. Never yarding. So you say that. No, this is ready. This is a sign. This is the beginning of a problem. Rabbi Yossi al she'ochlu al sheniru. Just by seeing them, you know, animals are afraid to go near people. When animals lose their fear of people, it's just a question of time before you're going to have very serious problems. And one time we grew up. Today, up in where? Deer walk down the street, not fazed by people. No, they're not phased. A car goes on the road.
Right up to the house.
right? They're nothing. They're not phased. This is not a good sign. If animals are not, because a human being has a certain aura, and it should be naturally afraid, not afraid. The answer is because the animal sees the human being no better than itself. It's also another animal. Al-elu masriyin b'Shabbos. Here, even on Shabbos, the word masriyin over means you call out. The Gemara says, because we don't blow shofar on Shabbos. You cry out. Al-ir shikifu nochrim. A city that goyim laid siege around the city. Al-nor, O-nor. A river's about to go beyond its banks. Al-sfina b'terefes b'yam. A ship that's listing it in the ocean, it's about to break apart. Rabbi Yossi Omer le'ezav lo l'tzoko. When he says you call, you don't cry out, but you cry out for help, for other people to come to help. Shimon atemiyo afala dever, also for dever, pestilence, disease. The hodul chacham, they said no, it's only these other. No, crying out means with tefillah. Al kol tzarash lotovo. We always say that it shouldn't happen, but if it does happen, chas v'sholom, masrin alein. Whatever it is, you go to the most extreme level. You masrin, you blow the shofar, cry out. Whenever you have the shofar, it's always it meets together with tefillah. Chutz mirov geshomim. What about if you have too much rain? Too much rain, you don't cry out that Hashem should remove it. Masi she'omer lo l'choni hamagil. Famous story, choni hamagil. Hispalib Shiyerdu, Choni Maga was the famous tzaddik. Whatever he asked Hashem, Hashem would respond. So, but it's interesting. There was a drought. So he'd say, yeah, but probably go to him immediately. You see, he didn't go to him immediately. It's only when they realized they couldn't deal with it. As much as they did, it didn't happen. Only then, as a last resort, they went to Choni Amagil. You know, people, right away, they go run to the tzaddik and maybe do tshuva. You should pray yourself. After you've exhausted all avenues to be helped, okay, then you go to the tzaddik. And that's what you see. Masish omelo choni amagel hispalu she'erdu gushamim omelem tzu v'chnisu taner psochim b'shvil shlo yimoku. Now the ovens that they actually brought, the Korban Pesach was made of clay ovens. So, and they were transportable ovens. When they come for Pesach, they bring these ovens, these transportable ovens to Yerushalayim to broil their Korban Pesach. They're made of clay. So what happens if clay? You let it out and the rain rains on it. Even though it was already fired in a kiln, it's gonna start melting. No, it's just gonna melt. It's gonna fall apart. So he says he gave a full warning before I start praying. Everybody should take their ovens, bring them in. Otherwise, they're gonna dissolve in the rain. Hispalav liyodu shami. So he prays, nothing happens. This choni amagil. Ma also. So what do you do? Also uga. He made a depression in the ground. V'omad b'sochin. He went into the depression. V'omar. The fun of Ribonu Shel Olam. He says to Hashem, Ribon, Master of the universe. Bonecho somu pneim olai. Your children have turned their faces towards me. Shani keben bayis lefonecho. Because why did they come to me? Because I'm a member of your household. I'm like a ben bayis. I'm a member of your household. Nishbani b'shimcha agodol. I swear in your great name. Sheini zozmi kan achitarachim obonecho. Here, I swear I will not leave this location till you have rachmim on your children. His chilu gisham ninatve all of a sudden starts drizzling, drips and drabs. Omalo kach shalti. So he says to Hashem, is this what I asked for? Elo gishmei boros sichanim oros. I asked for rains that will fill up all the cisterns. So evidently it was a real drought. His chilu lerid bezaf. It came down with a vengeance. With a vengeance it rained. It came down in torrents. Oma lo kach sha'alti el gishri rotzen brocha u'nedovo. I didn't ask that it should be destructive rains. I asked that it should be rains of willingness and blessing and goodness. Yordiki tukunon. And it rained as it should rain. It rained so much. The water rose to such a point they had to go to high ground because everything was getting flooded. Bov omrulog. As you prayed they should come, now pray they should go away. During the regalim, if a person would lose something, they would stand on this elevated stone, and they would announce who did anybody lose this, and they would have to give some kind of identifying signs, and they would return the lost article to him. So it was like a stone they would stand on. It was made of what? It was made of clay. It was made of pottery. Even that melted, fell apart. Sholach lo, okay, so what happened? Sholcho Shimon Shetach. Shimon Shetach was the leading Torah sage. He was the head of the Sanhedrin. He sends a message to Choni HaMagil. Ilmoli Choni Ato. If you wouldn't be Choni, goes Rani Olechon Nidui. As is the head of Sanhedrin, we would declare you should be excommunicated. Why? Because is that the way you speak to Hashem? You don't speak to God this way. What can I do? Whenever you beseech Hashem, Hashem does what you want. It's like a child when he speaks to his father. Does he have to speak with the same formal respect? Wait, you're like the child to the father. And the father does what the child asks. And regarding you, what the Torah says, what the pasuk says in the Torah, the father and mother rejoice over the what? Over the child that they gave birth to. Okay? Let's see the pasuk. Yeah. Where's the psukim? Psukim are brought here. Where is it?
So he didn't pray for the rain to stop.
He didn't pray.
So he had to reach for
Yeah. Yeah. Pasuk Mishlei. It was high, right? Evidently, just rain. It melted just from being exposed to the rain. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Hoyumisanin v'yordu lev gishomim korem netzachama. Yeah, they decreed there's going to be a fast tomorrow, and we're talking about a day fast. They fast, so it was in place to start fasting, and it started rain before sunrise. So that we cancel the fast. We only fast because there's no rain. So if it rains before sunrise, you don't fast. So Hoyumisanin, they started fast from the previous night, and it rained before sunrise. Lo yashlimu. Everybody agrees. You stop right there. You don't complete the fast. Lachan netzachama. Let's say it only rained after sunrise. Once day begins, you're fasting. You have to complete the fast. Yashlimu. Tanakama says you have to finish the fast off. If when day came, the Yeshua, the salvation came, you don't complete the fast. But if you fasted already into the daytime, which is after sunrise, then you have to finish the fast. Rav Lezo Meno, Kodem Chatzos, Lo Yashlimu. If it rains before midday, then you don't. La'achatzos, if it hadn't rained till after midday, Yashlimu. Master should go to Taanis Balud. There was a decree, there was a time they decreed that they should fast in Lud. Yordlem Gisham Kodem Chatzos. And it rained before midday. Omeleh Reb Tarfon Su Vichlu Shu Vasu Yom Tov. So Reb Tarfon, who was the leading Torah sage in Lud, he says, go out, eat, drink, it's a Yom Tov. V'yotzav ochel v'shosu v'oslam Yom Tov, u'bo bein arbayim, and it came towards sundown, the Korah Haleh Godel. Right? They said a full Haleh. No, they didn't complete it. Say the Tani Se'elu Omer B'Revi Rishona. We had earlier that if it didn't rain by the first period of time when it's supposed to rain, it says they start fasting. U'Reminu, we had in this mission, it says, Revi Rishonu Shniyah, Lisho Shlishel Sasanos. It's only after when the third period of time passes, if it doesn't, that's when you start fasting. And the mission says, for the earth, Omer Rav Yud Hochi Kama, say the Tani Yosoma Imosai, Bisman, the order we said, first the Yechidim fast, the Talmud Chachomim, then ordinary people, so on and so forth. Bisman Shiotzu Rivishonu Shniu Shlishis, Velo Yordu Gshomim. Ava Yordu Gshomim Bervi Rishona. Let's say it rained after the first period that it was supposed to rain. Vizoru, and they planted Velo Tzomchu. Yeah, what it means, the first Mishnah. It rained when it was supposed to rain, they plant, but it didn't grow. It didn't grow. Inami Tzomchu. Excuse me. V'chosm nishtanu. But what grew, it didn't go right. Masir lemiyad. Omer Rav Nachman dafka nishtanu. That's only if something else grew out of the ground, but it's not avoyov shulo. But if it dried, you don't fast. Why? So Rashi has two pshatim. Because like this, if it hadn't rained, you're listening, if it hadn't rained, so you pray it should rain. But let's say the crop just dried out. You know, you can't beat a dead horse. Once the rain is gone, it's gone. So there's no point. What are you going to continue praying? Nothing's going to grow now because the crop you planted is already dried out. It's died. It has no value for rains, right? So therefore, if it was Yavshu, so the Gemara says, Chazv nishtanu, excuse me, Inami tzomchu v'chaz nishtanu basrin alemiyar. Omer Rav Nach dafka nishtanu. Yavshu lo. Either Yavshu lo because it's not so terrible when it rained. The Gemara says, Pshita, nishtanu tenan. It says, so what do you mean, Yavshu lo? It says, where something else came out, lo tzricha, the akun. What's akun? So Rashi says, tu pshatim akun. Well, say ma'aknu, so milsi kamashla. Either akun means it grew in a way where it seems to be nothing's going to happen. So therefore there's no, or it means akun means it's not so terrible. That's the way it looks. It'll work out. Since it's going to work out, right, let's see, Rashi. Akun. Where's akun? Akun. Yeah. She'olo b'kona sheniskenu me'at. Meaning after they dried out, it grew a little bit in the sheaf. Avayoshulo, Rashi says because it's hopeless. It's tefillah Avayoshu shechitim adayin dakin. But let's say it dried out when they were ready, it grew. They're small afilochel or masriyan, because ultimately it's going to come back. It's going to come back. It's not tragic. It's not tragic. Further. It says that if it rained, then there was a period of 40 days between it didn't rain. Now it says there are two types of problems. There's what we call max batzoris. Batzoris means there's a lack of food, but there's food. It's not a starvation. Or you have what we call rov. Rov means it's a famine. That's a famine. What's batzoris and what's a famine? Omer Rav Yehuda Omer Rav Maka Hamevia Lidei Batzoris. Batzoris means something which causes a lack of food. What is that? Omer Rav Nachman Nahara Naharo Batsurta. Why? Let's say you have down the river, you have one city that has food, another city doesn't have food. It's not the end of the world, because if you're on a river, you could transport food from one city to the other. And to transport it on a river, it's relatively not so complicated. What about if you have to transport it over land? There are no rivers. Let's say it's in the middle of the country, there's no food. To transport food there, the likelihood that you'll be able to get enough food there in time is unlikely. That's a famine. That's a famine. So we say, Nahara, Nahara, if you have both cities are on the river, that's Batsurta. Okay? You're going to have less food because factually, if it didn't rain in one city, this one city has to share its food with the other city. But factually, you'll be able to get the food there, the grain, with the boat. Medinta a medinta kafna. But if you have to transport it over land transportation, that's a famine. That's a famine. Rashi says, has to be transported with mules. It comes out things have changed. You have overland you have rail system. It's a whole different world. Omer of Chanina, Sela, so besela, Ushchicha, Batsurta. What about you're able to buy a saw for one seller, which is very expensive, but it's available. You have the money to pay the price, it's available, that's Batsurta. Because the fact is, people can't buy that much. Here, it's expensive. When you can't buy that much, that means it's a shortage of food. What about Arbo, so besela, V'lo Shchicha? What happens if you have, it's you can buy it for less, right? But people don't have money, right? If you have money, it's relatively cheap. But you don't have money, it's not available. So what happens? Then you got to, that's a famine. So when it costs more, that's not a famine, but people have money, they can pay for it. So they'll pay more, they'll get less, but at least they have food. The other case, people don't have money to spend. And the very few, so that's a famine. People are starving. This being when money is relatively available, and the fruits are expensive. The grain, what about if money is rare? There's a scarcity of money, and fruits are cheap, but people don't have money to buy fruits. Masriya lemiyad. That you immediately you declare the most serious level of fast. You blow the shofar and everything else. Domer Rav Yochanan, nihirnu karabikaimi daltzon b'sela. He says, I saw there was a time you were able to buy 4 so, which is an enormous amount of grain, from 1 seller. And there were many people who were bloated from famine, like, you see the pictures of malnourished kids with bloated bellies. There were many people with bloated stomachs in Tveria. Why? People didn't even have a coin. They had nothing. So you could have food, but the people are not giving away the food for nothing. So what happens? People are going to starve. Reading an article in Eretz Yisrael, in Yehuda and Shomron, many of these areas, they have mashgich and mahadrin, or they would go into the Arab areas, and they would oversee the orchards, the fields, whatever it was, for vegetables, different things. But now, because they shut down everything, it's already been 2 weeks that certain vegetables haven't come into Eretz Yisrael. Haven't come into, because, again, nobody could go in there. First, look, they're concerned they'll be kidnapped. They're concerned they'll kidnap mashgichim. See, they said at one time when they kidnapped only soldiers, they weren't afraid they're going to kidnap civilians. But now that they see they're kidnapping teenagers, they're not going to kidnap an adult. Definitely don't kidnap an adult. So therefore, it's off limits. Nobody could go there. Okay. We had early in the Mishnah, what happens if it rains for the vegetation, but it doesn't rain for the trees, right? He says, what's the case where it rains for the gardens and for the grain, for the wheat fields? Meaning it rains gently, it doesn't come down with force, because as we had early in the first parak, it has to penetrate the roots for the trees to benefit from the rain. So if gentle rain, the trees don't benefit from this. What it means, it rained for the trees, not for the vegetation. Came down forcefully, and it didn't come down gently. What happens if it rains sufficiently for the tree and for the vegetation? But it didn't rain sufficiently for what? To fill up the water cisterns. Rain both levels, gently and forcefully, right? But it didn't rain that much. I remember I was in Israel before, in Adar, this last Adar. Hadn't rained in a long time. It was right before Purim, and all of a sudden, this past winter didn't rain much in Israel. And before, at the beginning of Adar, it rained. So I went to Hebron then, and before I went, it didn't rain yet. So we went, the fields were brown. When I was in Morris Machpelah then, it rained for about 2 hours. Came out of Morris Machpelah, the same fields we passed that were brown, came out green, lush green. You understand? Just one rain. It's unbelievable. To go from brown to a beautiful green. I'm just saying, it can rain, it's enough for the trees and for the vegetation, but it doesn't fill up the water cisterns. It's interesting, the Gemara says in, it's Gemara later in Taanis, but it's Gemara in other places too, a few other places, that, there's a it's Gemara Sukkah we had, there's an underground water table. And the way Hashem created the world, when rain comes in contact with the ground, something that activates that the water rises from underneath. And that keeps the ground moist. So that makes sense. You have to have less rain for things to grow in terms of rainfall. Of course, you have the underwater water table. But for drinking water, either the water's there, it's not there. So as much as it rains, that's as much as you're going to drink. So maybe enough for the trees and for the vegetation, but it's not enough for people to drink. There's not enough for drinking water or to wash a car. In those days, they didn't have to worry about washing cars. And if you have 3 cars, it's not simple. Okay? Elohad Tanya. He says, but we learned in the Bryce, he says, what's the case? It rains sufficiently for the water cisterns, but not for the trees and for the vegetation. Came down with such a force, it's not good for the rain, for the trees, not good for the vegetation, but actually filled the water cisterns. It does not be a flash flood. It comes down in torrents. Torabon Masrin Ali Lonos. You begin blowing the shofar Lonos before HaPesach. If Pros HaPesach, the water systems aren't full yet, that's by middle of Nisan, then you what? You start fasting, blowing for the shofar. Alabors V'sicham Oros, Afilu B'fros HaChag. Even what? B'fros HaChag. If Sukkot already has passed, it hasn't happened. There we're speaking about there's water. But the water system, it's low. Like, they said the Kinneret has reached a low. There's still water to drink. What happens if there's no water in the water systems? What do? Then you go to the emergency level immediately. You go to the most extreme level of fasting. Vezo miyad. The first Monday, Thursday, Monday, you start fasting, most extreme level of fasting. Val kulon e masrin alein elo ba'farchio shalohen. Yeah. See, since it's only in that municipality, where they don't have the water in that municipality, whatever it's called the municipality, that's where you go to the most. Va'askara, what about if it's askara? Askara is always interpreted as diphtheria. Askara, bizman sheish ba miso, masrin alein. If people are dying from diphtheria, you go to the most extreme measure of fasting immediately. Bizman she'ein bo miso, let's say people are just affected by it, but people are not dying of it yet, ei masrin alein, then not yet. It's interesting. So in those days, people evidently, they recovered. It didn't mean once a person got it, he definitely died. People in those days, because otherwise, if they're dying, so it's just a question of time before they die, right? Seemingly. No, Albert. Today, a person gets diphtheria. Most people they die from it. No, if you don't. Before Priya, to Priya. I know during in the ghettos in Europe, that was the first thing people got diphtheria and typhus. The same thing. No. They died. It had to do with sanitary conditions. That's usually what causes it. It's really you see the brocha. Before they had sanitation, I mean, how did society survive? Chavetz Chaim speaks in the Mishnah Berurah about when you say Kiddush Levana in the street, they had open sewers in the street. So if that's the case, I mean, you're not permitted to be, if you're looking in that direction, you're not permitted to say a brocha. You're not permitted to daven. So how do you say Kiddush Levana in the street? Mishnah Berurah speaks about this. Halacha. So you have to turn your face in the other direction. You can't say Kiddush Levana in the direction where you have the open sewers. This was daily life over there. You can imagine the stench in the streets. It was a whole different level of existence. In India or Bangkok.
I lived in Japan. The open sewer ran along the road, right next to the road, wherever you were. Sewer ran alongside.
Not in Tokyo.
Tokyo.
Fancy Tokyo.
Tokyo. And people would come home drunk at night, the men drinking, they'd fall in. In the morning, they'd pull them out. Covered.
Unbelievable. Okay.
They had to watch when we were driving. They were on the edge of the road.
Who the drunks?
The drunks, yeah. When you fall into the ditch, and they'd be, the head would be out or the feet would be out, one or the other, and the rest of them was in the sewer.
Okay. Look, you know why? Because they're not that tall. Okay. The moment you see locust, immediately you go to the high gear of fasting. Reb Shimon Aloza Omer, Aval HaChagav, it's another species of locust. Evidently, Govoy is the worst. Chagav is what Chagav is. It doesn't mean grasshopper. It means some kind of locust. It's another species of locust. If it's meaning during the sabbatical cycle, it's during the 6 years. Even in the sabbatical year. What difference does it make? The wealthy, they have stored away, right? You understand? A person who's a farmer in agriculture, a person has money. He already bought his. You think he relies on Shemitah, that he's going to go out there and scrounge for whatever's left and fight for the apple off the tree. So they're secure. Therefore, even though this happens during Shvius, it's not a problem because most people already have prepared for that year. So Rav Shimon says, what about the poor people? They don't have the means to prepare. Therefore, you have to pray for them because they have nothing. What about things that grow wild vegetation? Not trees. Even that. They go pick things that grow wild. Tanya, Omer Shimon, Omer Blozim Protim, Yoshchor Beisamigdosh, Nasu Geshomim Tzimukim. You this? After Churdabayis, relative to the type of rain, the quality of the rain they used to have, it's become, Tzimukim means like dried out. Nasu Geshom Smukan Lolam, Yeshana Shigushumo, Shigashmem Rubin, Shana Shigsham Muatim. There are years where you have abundant rains, and you have years which you have little rain. Yeshana Shmer Yordim Bismanon. You have years where the rain comes in its time. Yeshana Shein Shomer Yordim Bismanon. Shana Shikshom Yordim Bismanon Loahu Domer. When it rains in time, what is that analogous to? Le'evet Shenosel Rabba Parnasoso Bechad B'Shabbos. Yeah. The master pays his servant his wage on Sunday. So if he pays his wage on Sunday, he has for a whole week. Nimtzis Isa Nefes Kitikuna. Nechelis Tikuna. Right? So he prepares it on Sunday. Now he has for the whole week. Shana Sheikh Shema Yordim Bisman Lo Mudoma Levet Shenosel Rabbo Parnasoso Be'erev Shabbos. Nasa Isa Nefesh Lo Kitikuna. It's rushed. Before Shabbos, you don't have sufficient time to prepare the bread. So everything is rushed. Nechel shel tikuna. So if it's not baked properly, you can't eat properly. A second. Yeah. Shalish Geshmem Reuben lo mahu domer lo eved shenosel rab hanosot vasachas nimtzis rechaim tochnos min akur mas tochnos min akav. You go to the granary, to the mill. So let's say you have a very large amount of grain to mill. You could mill a ton of grain. You could mill 5 pounds of grain. So if your master gives you enormous, you do it all at one time. You have everything milled, everything's ready. But if you have a small amount and it's bits and pieces, what are you going there? You're wasting your time. So Shana Shikshami Muoti and Moldoma Levet Shanoslo Rabban Sos Matmat Nipsir Rechaim Kavash Tochnis Min Akor Tochnis Min Akav Nipsis Isab Ma Kamo Shenechelis Min Akor Ochelis Min Akav. Not sure exactly. You get less out. Shegederach Nifraim Min Akemach Brechaim Sham Yordim. He says for some reason there's always the flour is stuck, remains in the mill. There's a certain percentage of the flour that remains behind. So if you have an enormous amount, so percentage-wise, you get much more flour. If you have less, you mill less, more. So you take less out of the mill. A good part of it's left behind. You have a lot of water, so you have water, and the cement is mixed very well. You're out of water. It doesn't mix well because you have sand, right? It's interspersed with sand. It's not really cement. This famous story. Just end with this. The Jews came to Yerushalayim for the regel, and there's no water to drink. It was a drought. Nagim ben Goyim was one of the wealthiest Jews in Klal Yisrael. No, in those days they had all problems with these Arabs. He says, I want to borrow 12 wells to be able to give water to my brothers who came for the regel. And I will return the water. I'll give you the equivalent of water of 12 well springs. And if I don't repay it, I will give you 12 kikar, very large amount of silver, bullion. Cover those man. Yeah, and they set a time that if he doesn't bring the water by that time, He has to pay the silver. Okay? Came to the didn't rain that morning. Sholachlo, Shagali or my Mosa. The guy already was pressing him. He says, I want the water or send me the silver. He says, I have yet time to pay the debt. Right? It's not past the due time. The day's still my day. Dagdim Gurin sent back to the guy, the day's still my day. But Tzarayim Sholach Shagli or my Mosa came midday. Didn't rain yet. He says, either send me the water or the money. I still have time. B'mincha shalach lo shogalig omayim omos sheish li biyado shalach lo adayin yesh li shos. B'yom, he says, I still have time. We're talking about he has 15 minutes to go. It's still going to rain. Ligle golav osod. So this guy, he started to mock him. Who you fooling? It hasn't rained until now. V'achshav you yerdu geshamim. You think it's going to rain now? Nichlas beis hamerchotz b'simcha. Hear this? So this what? This guy, he went into the bathhouse with joy. Hear this? The guy went, he's already counting his chickens. And Naglim went into the base mixture of Spalia. And he's depressed, and he's wrapped in his talis. Whatever I did was not for my honor. Not for the honor of my father's household. Only I did it so water should be available for the only regol do your mitzvah. Hear this? Immediately became overcast with clouds. Hear this? So he's 15 minutes, the guy's in the bathhouse. Water comes down such torrents. 12 well springs are filled with water and even more. This character comes out of the bathhouse. So he says, give me the water. He says, you even have more than we took from you. We gave you back more than we took. He says, I know God turned the world upside down only for you. But I still have a claim you have to pay me. Why? When it rained after nightfall. So therefore, you missed the due date. I have the water, plus you have to pay me. Right? Back to Beis Hamikdash. Here it doesn't say he's depressed. Doesn't say he's depressed. Hashem does a miracle. Evidently, it worked. He said, reveal to the world that you have those who you love in this world. Hear this? Immediately the clouds parted. It was such a thick cloud covering, you thought it was nighttime, nightfall. And the sun shone. If the sun wouldn't pierce the clouds, I would have a claim against you. But now, I lost the battle. To be continued.